we officially have our Super Bowl teams. The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots will be playing in the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. And to find out which two we were going to have, we needed to play out two great football games. Obviously, the Rams and Seahawks was a much more entertaining game if you ask me. But if you love snow football, well, the Patriots and Broncos was the game for you. Let's talk about that one first. That was the first game of the day. The Denver Broncos hosting the New England Patriots. The storyline heading in was obviously Bo Nix not starting for the Broncos, so it was going to be Jarrett Stidham. And Jarrett Stidham was not terrible, but he was not good. He went 17 for 31, 133 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Took 3 sacks. And really the take I had from this, and really the biggest takeaway from this was the big mistake that he made. Now, controversial play because it did look like he was trying to pitch the football forward. Weird pass with 2 hands. He was kind of throwing it forward. And as he was letting it go, the defender had his hand kind of on the football as well. So he got tipped. Essentially went backwards. It became a backwards pass, which was then picked up by the New England Patriots and gave them perfect field position to go right down and score, which they did. Drake May obviously ran that ball in and tied up the game. At that point, it was 7-0 Broncos. And really, it looked like the Broncos had control of this game. Mind you, they had already had a 4th and 1, which they went for deep in New England territory, and they did not convert, which kept the game within 1 score for the Patriots. Everyone's criticizing that Sean Payton call because, take the points. You got a backup quarterback. Your defense is playing pretty well, keeping Drake May and the Patriots offense in check. And you ended up deciding to be aggressive and try to get the touchdown instead of just settling, taking the points. You would have been up 10-0. I'm not sure what the weather forecast was, but if you knew that snow was coming in, those 3 points would have been very valuable. And ultimately, they ended up being the difference in the game. Now, the one thing I will say, I don't think Sean Payton coached a great game, but I will defend him here. Look, people want to bash him. People don't like Sean Payton. That's fine. But if you're going to bash him for going for it on 4th and 1 in a game where points were at a premium, guess what? Mike Vrabel also went for it on 4th and 1. And honestly, Drake May with that tush push, QB sneak, whatever you want to call it, on the replay, it looked like he did not get the first down. Now, it was called a first down on the field. I'm not going to complain about it. The replay needs to be, very decisive and very convincing. And you could argue that it wasn't, but the angle from above definitely looked like he did not get the first down. But my point being is he took the same risk that Sean Payton did. Ultimately, he just got lucky that the call and the placement of the ball and where the officials placed the football was enough for the first down. Criticize Sean Payton's play call. I'm with you. I agree that was a bad play call. But the decision to go for it, if you're going to criticize Sean Payton, you need to criticize Mike Vrabel for going for it and thinking that way as well. I think, frankly, both made a mistake in trying to go for it. Ultimately, the Patriots ended up settling for a field goal in that drive anyway. And they risked it at that point if they would have been stopped. And if the replay would have overturned that call, they would have, had no points either. And then we would have had a 7-7 game probably going into overtime. Because once the snow really started coming down, these two offenses were doing nothing. The Pats were actually purposely even throwing incomplete passes out of bounds just so they could punt the football because they trusted their defense and that their defense was going to keep the Broncos from moving the ball at all. The Broncos missed a, pretty relatively, you would think, easy field goal later in the game. I think it was about 34 yards or so. Again, with the weather conditions, it's hard to, really blame them. They also missed about a 50-yarder right before the half, which at that point the snow wasn't crazy, and you would think that should have been a makeable field goal. Now, actually, I should say this: the miss later when it was snowing was blocked by the Patriots, so give their special teams credit. So those were the biggest takeaways. Again, that 4th and 1 that the Broncos didn't convert and essentially turned the ball over on downs. Fine. Blame Sean Payton for that. Momentum changes, sure. But I'm just saying, Mike Vrabel did the same thing. But the play really that to me changed the game was that Stidham backwards pass, which the Patriots recovered and actually ran back for a touchdown. But obviously because the play was called dead and then overturned, they couldn't count the return yardage. So it ended up being just New England ball at about the 10-yard line. Then Drake May ended up scoring, which good karma, because if that's going to be the call on the field, and they did end up running it back for a touchdown, but that got negated because of the call after the review. with a reversal of the call, I should say, well, then at that point, good karma means they should get the touchdown. And they did. Drake May scored the touchdown, tied the game up. But that play, Jarrett Stidham, bro, just don't be a hero. Take the sack. Again, that is one of those instances where I think that is just a turnover that you can't have. And that ended up being the difference in the game. The Patriots turned the Broncos over, and the Broncos didn't turn over the Patriots. So protect the football in an ugly game like this. The final score was 10-7 Patriots. That's what you got to do. Be smart. And you know what? Drake May didn't play great. He, in my opinion, he has not played great these playoffs. But he has the poise. He has the moxie. In this game, again, he has the patience to, you know what? I'm just going to throw this football away. And that sometimes is all it takes. These are long football games, okay? There is possession still to come. Don't be a hero. That should be the message that all these guys should take away from these games. And to be honest, Drake May, again, he hasn't played great. But that mentality of him not trying to do too much is huge. And that is what makes him good. That is what makes him a franchise quarterback, that he is poised enough to realize my defense got me. This is still a one-possession game. I don't need to score and tie the game on this possession. If we have to punt, we will punt. We will get the ball back. It's the playoffs. You know, our defense's intensity levels at a different level, like just being smart. And, you know, I'm saying that, though, knowing that on the first pass of the game, the Broncos, I think it was on the third down, the Broncos should have and definitely should have had the interception if not for Stephon Diggs helping out his young quarterback and kind of knocking the ball away from the defender's hand, who was right there to make a play. But again, those kind of plays happen, and ultimately you control what you can control. Now, moving forward, we'll see how the Patriots address their issues, because Will Campbell, their left tackle rookie, is just not doing great. All right. And now they're going to play a Seattle defense who's got a mean pass rush. And we'll see how that they'll handle that. But they're going to need a lot of help on the offensive line to give themselves a chance against this Seattle defense, which will shift us now into the later game today, which was the Rams at the Seahawks, 31-27 Seattle. I mean, this was a great game, right? And in the beginning, it looked like here goes Seattle. They go up 7-0. Darnold's on. First of all, congratulations, Sam Darnold. Honestly, he balled out. He's changed his career trajectory completely from last year with the Vikings, this year with the Seahawks. He's going to the Super Bowl. And frankly, in my opinion, as of right now, should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, because those guys are clicking on all levels. He went 25 for 36, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. In the biggest game of his career, Darnold played lights out. And guess what? Stafford played lights out too. 22 for 35, 374, 3 touchdowns, no picks as well for Matthew Stafford. This was a defense wins championships game. I said it before, and frankly, I should have picked Seattle because of that, but I thought the experience with the Rams and McVay, who did coach a better game. But again, these coaches that are trying to go for it and be greedy, he had a chance to get a field goal there towards the end. I mean, he went for it on a 4th and 4 at the Seattle 6 with 5 minutes left. 4:59 left on the clock, all 3 timeouts remaining, and they went for it. And they didn't get it. The defense for the Seahawks stepped up. And then obviously now they're in chase mode and they need a touchdown. And ultimately, if you would have just gotten that field goal, it's 31-30. Now there's more pressure on Seattle. They've got to at least try to get a field goal, because if you give the ball back to Matthew Stafford with how he had been playing and those weapons, really all the Rams need now is a field goal and they win. But he decided to go for it, and that's the one costly mistake I think Sean McVay made. So again, and we got to give Mike Macdonald credit. This Seahawks team is well coached, with the exception for Tariq Woolen being an idiot. And people were complaining about the refs throwing a flag on unsportsmanlike conduct on him, because they're saying, it's a championship game, you can't throw a flag for these guys yapping. I'm sorry. He was yapping and all in the Rams sideline, and it's not like he just threw the flag. You watch the replay. That ref gave him multiple chances. He told him, get away from here. Go away. Stop yapping. And that was a huge third down stop by Seattle. And then Woolen ruins it right before the Rams are going to punt, 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, which leads to then a touchdown for Puka Nacua on the very next play on Tariq Woolen. So it all came, crashing down there for Seattle, and that put the Rams within 4, and it looked like, okay, the Rams are one stop away from, going on and taking the lead. And again, this game went into the fourth quarter 31-27, and no one scored in the fourth. That's how it ended. Sam Darnold just, again, he's going to be the story because he did play a phenomenal game. But, you got guys like Kenneth Walker playing really well. Obviously, Jackson Smith-Njigba had a hell of a game. And the defense for Seattle made plays when they had to. They did a pretty good job for the most part stopping the run. Blake Corum, when he was out there, he ran the ball pretty well. He had 9 carries for 55 yards, averaged 6.1 a carry. But Kyren Williams had 10 carries for 39 yards. Ultimately, they did a well enough job to keep Seattle's lead safe, I guess I should say. And again, but you also need a quarterback like Darnold that's going to do what he did. And he played great. I thought Mike McDonald coached up a great game again. And maybe it's these rookie coaches that are coming in and just being smarter than the older guys who are overthinking it. Sometimes there's a saying of like the old guys are trying to play a young man's game. And it seems like that's what's happening with the coaching. They're overthinking it. I mean, Sean Payton's out there going for it on 4th and 1. Again, here you have Sean McVay going for it on a 4th and 4 with 5 minutes left. Like, you got to think you can still get the ball back. You have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. I get the pressure of feeling like, man, what happens if we only kick the field goal and we never get to get the football back? Well, if that's the case, your defense failed you. If that's the case, you don't have a Super Bowl caliber defense. I'm sorry. So again, these young coaches just knowing what buttons to push has seemed like a revelation here with the NFL. And honestly, I'm excited for the Super Bowl, the Seahawks and the Patriots. I don't know the line, but I imagine the Seahawks are definitely favored. And I would say it's about 4.5. I will, we need to look this up and see what ultimately the line is going to be. But, again, just a great day of football, good games. Here we go. What's the line? Oh, yep. Seattle, exactly right. By 4.5 favored against the Patriots. I'm excited for that. I think that line, I don't know where that line's going to move to because I do like the Seahawks defense. That defense is great. They're going to go up against Drake May. Don't forget, he's just a second-year quarterback. And I think the narrative should be forgotten with Darnold. I mean, he's proven it. It's not him that was the issue. Yes, he had bad games last year with Minnesota, but maybe the coaching could have helped him out. Maybe he could have had a better offensive line. Maybe the defense for the Vikings could have kept them in those games. And all of that, he's getting with Seattle, which is allowing him to be himself as well. Maybe Darnold's just not the type that's going to carry such a, bad team around him. He finally's got a team around him that's built to win. And look at what's going on. So I think Darnold is great. I honestly, even if he would have made a mistake at the end, I'm tired of that narrative with Darnold. Like, he's a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback. And he's doing his thing, and you're seeing it happen. And it's coaching, and it's all that. And the one last thing I want to talk about is that we had obviously all this snow coming down in Denver. And I know that football fans, and maybe it's a macho man, to say that we love the snow game and we love football in the snow. But honestly, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm watching it, and I want to feel like I'm seeing these two teams at their best go at it. And when I watch those games and guys are slipping in the backfield, there's no points because they can't even make a pass 20 yards down the field, which, by the way, Drake May did have a very nice throw to Mac Hollins towards the end there that was crucial. And he ended up winning the game with his legs on the 3rd and 6. Great play call by the offense. But ultimately, the snow games, I feel like, just take away from the actual skill and talent of these guys because there's another factor that's, implemented and disrupting the game plans and the execution of the plays on the field. And I'm not trying to say it's helping either team. They're both playing in these conditions. So I'm not making an excuse for the Broncos or even if the Patriots had lost. I'm just saying I want to see these guys play at their best. And I think the snow games are cool and visually they're awesome. But it takes away from that. If you watch this game, that first half, you're watching it and you're thinking to yourself like, all right, this is what these coaches have prepared. This is what these players have worked so hard for. And then in the second half, it's kind of just, let's just get rid of the football and pretty much hope that we're not the team that makes that crucial mistake because of the weather conditions. So that's my take on the weather. But ultimately, a great day of football. I'm so excited for the Super Bowl. I'm always excited for the Super Bowl. Honestly, I don't care what the matchup would have been. I would have been pumped up because it's the Super Bowl. Should be a national holiday. We should all be celebrating a great football season. I hope you guys enjoyed the games today and are excited as well. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? Great football. Congratulations, Sam Darnold. Congratulations, Drake May and the New England Patriots. And honestly, for all the people that are giving Sam Darnold the credit that he rightfully deserves for, leaving Minnesota and winning and getting to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, I hope you're putting that same energy to Drake May and the Patriots, because you got to pick one. Either winning is a QB stat or it's not. And I feel like a lot of people want to give the QB stat here to Darnold and say like, oh, look at what he's done with the Seahawks. But they don't want to give it to Drake May because they want to say like, oh, he's got the easiest schedule in the league. It's been, they've had luck in the playoffs with who they've had to play. Like, nah, if we're giving it to Darnold, we're giving it to Drake May. And I'm equally there. I'm giving it to Sam Darnold. I think he's been great. But I also think Drake May has been great with the set of tools that he's been given and with what he's had to do to win these games. Winning is all that matters, okay? And they both have had units around them that have helped out. This Patriots defense, say what you will, or who they had to play, they had to show up. They had to make CJ Stroud look like a backup quarterback to give their team a chance to win, and they did that. In the game that Drake May didn't play very well. Today against the Broncos, they had to keep stopping. Yes, it's Jarrett Stidham, but it's still a Sean Payton NFL football team, and the Patriots had to make plays, and the defense, and they did that. So I think it's just, you can say both are true. It's good quarterbacks with great teams and great coaching around them, and that's what we're seeing, and that's why these two now are in the Super Bowl. I will talk to you on the next one, and soon enough, we're going to have to make a Super Bowl prediction, and I can't wait, and we have some time because it's 2 weeks now until the Super Bowl. Y'all enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll talk to you on the next one.